All right, welcome to another rapid fire answering your breakup questions. What is this now, volume 6? So if you're not familiar with how this works, it's pretty simple. I take questions usually in the previous rapid fire volume asking questions, and I just basically answer them. So today I took questions just directly from the last rapid fire breakup question video that I did. So if you want to have your question answered and featured on a video like this, your best bet's to actually comment below and ask your question. So let's just jump right into it. Corey Carlson asks, how do you take an ex back that doesn't make an effort after 5 months and we have a kid together? I'm in limited no contact and not contacting her until I pick up the little one. Please address. Thank you. Well, situations like this are always difficult, especially when children are involved. But from a strategic standpoint, you have the right idea. Limited no contact is definitely what you're going to want to do first. And I really don't think you need to reinvent the wheel here. So a lot of what you're going to be doing during no contact is trying to outgrow your ex, which is going to be extremely difficult because you share a child together and you do have to communicate because of that child. But everything after no contact, the value ladder, the value chain, concepts like that, just do it. You're not really having to reinvent the wheel here. Your situation is actually not that unique. So I would classify it as pretty general. Jessa Mendoza says, what can I do when he told me that he doesn't feel the love anymore and he almost tries to revive it, but it's gone? So this is actually a very common thing that exes will say at the precipice of a breakup. And usually that's because they're being brutally honest with how they're feeling. And this may take you aback, but I'm going to maybe shock you here. Your ex means every word that they say in the moment. So the important key there is it's in the moment. Their feelings are subject to change later. So what really happens is there's kind of a lack of nostalgia when a breakup is occurring. We don't really think much about those really positive memories that we had that really created the foundation of the love that we feel. Instead, we start thinking of all the things the person is doing wrong and why we don't like them and why we don't love them. And that's what's coming out from your ex. Don't take it personally. Your ex is allowed to feel what they're going to feel. And this is perhaps the most difficult lesson that I'm going to have to teach you if you're going to listen to me. You need to let your ex feel what they're going to feel because it's going through those emotions that will allow them to eventually get to a place where they can have nostalgia about you and your relationship. And usually the strategy we try to teach is to time things so that you're reaching out when they're just beginning to have that nostalgia. So here, again, we don't really need to do anything out of the ordinary. I know it seems hard. I know you feel your situation is unique, but you're still going to do a no contact rule. You're still going to implement a value ladder, and you're still going to have to do the value chain. Maria Davis says, I broke up with my ex a year ago, and since then he has moved on to a relationship he still seems happy with. He doesn't contact me unless I do. 7 and 8 months ago with a girl he literally met 2 months after our breakup. I'm now a week away from finishing a 45-day no contact in a much better state. How should you typically handle situations like this? Mainly when you've missed your chances early on and your ex's relationship is more than a rebound. This is an excellent question because it is a difficult situation. I've been on record multiple times saying that usually after 5 to 6 months of your ex being with that new person, it's beginning to develop into something a little bit more than a rebound. So your best bet is to actually just simply implement the being there method. You made a brilliant decision by extending your no contact rule, making it a 45-day rule instead of the traditional 30-day rule. But what really matters is the secure attachment style that you're developing during that no contact rule, because ultimately you need to act as secure as possible about your ex and that new person. And in this odd way, you are trying to compete with this new person with your ex, and they have the edge. So here's my recommendation to you. A few months ago, I can't remember off the top of my head, I did an interview with Coach Anna, and we spent literally an hour picking apart the being there method and everything that you need to be doing. I highly recommend that you check that resource out because I think that will pretty much answer every question, worry, concern, strategic aspect of the Being There method that you're going to be needing to implement. And really, a 5 to 10 minute video like this isn't going to help you. You need a little bit more specific advice. So check that out. All right, this is a fun one. Official account bro 100. So my ex and I have been broken up for 133 days, and she's in a rebound currently. She added me back on Facebook and messages me whenever she sees me somewhere. She also sent me a happy birthday with an animated filter in the background. I replied with thank you, and she hasn't texted me for a while now. She used to text me all the time. Now she just monitors my Facebook stories, and she used to get jealous when I hung out with other females and messaged me about it, but lately she just looks at the stories and says nothing, but she doesn't get upset. She and I hung out with mutual friends, and she gets up them per se. Should I reach out, or should I just leave it because she's in a rebound? We haven't spoken for roughly 25 days. The last time I saw her was when she was wearing my t-shirt and a pair of shorts I got her while in her rebound. So the last question I answered was also a rebound relationship, but that's a little bit different than this one because this one really strikes me as your ex-girlfriend is trying to make you jealous. I think what really tips it off for me is the fact that she's wearing your shirt and jeans, or the shirt and jeans that you got her while on a date with a new guy trying to make you jealous. So what's the approach? Well, overall, I think what's happening here is it's kind of like two animals in cages that are stuck, and there's like a fence between them, and they want to talk, but we're afraid on who's going to make the first move. So my recommendation to you would be make the first move, especially since you are a guy and you're dealing with an ex-girlfriend. Guess what? You actually have an embedded advantage by the fact that you are allowed, or it's socially acceptable for you to be the initiator. Now, we can get into a talk of gender differences with regards to if men reach out versus if women reach out, and I do think women should be allowed to reach out, but it is just simply socially acceptable for you to reach out first. So I don't really know what you're waiting for. I think you're just afraid of being rejected. And if that's the case, don't worry, just do it and think of it like this. You have nothing to lose. You've already lost it. Jake Glorasol says, my ex is an avoidant and jumped into a relationship that I think is a rebound. The grass is greener. I told them I wasn't interested in being friends and didn't talk for 2 months. They're still with a new person but are reaching out to me. Don't know if they are bored or just trying to reach out to get their fill, or if they actually have the grass is greener, and if I should try to implement the Being There method. Wow, a lot of rebounds and grass is greener and Being There method questions on the last video. All right, so I think probably the best way for me to honestly answer your question is by not talking about the rebound or the grass is greener syndrome or the Being There method, is by simply asking you a question, which is, what do you want? I mean, let's put down all of society's expectations on what you should do. What do you want to do? Because I think it's a question of regret. If you're going to regret the fact that you didn't even try when you knew there was something lingering within you that wanted to find out, I say that it's worth living your life in a way that you won't have regrets. What I always tend to tell people is, if you can try your hardest to win an ex back, if that's what you want to do, and fail, you can at least lay your head down on the pillow feeling confident that you tried everything in your power and just failed. There's no fault in that. But if you lay your head down on the pillow at night regretting the fact that you didn't even try and always wondering what if, that's just going to eat you alive, and then you'll probably end up making a fool of yourself 10 years down the road when you're like, hey, remember that one ex-girlfriend that I always can't get my mind off of? I'm gonna reach out to her now when she's married and has kids, and it's just creepy. So what do you want? So if you want your question answered in one of these Q&A type videos, all you have to do is simply leave a comment below. And if you could, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. In fact, this is something that we have not done a really good job of, which is pushing our viewers to subscribe. I've always been kind of, let's give people content first and then ask for stuff later. But what I'm realizing is that our videos tend to do better when people subscribe to them. So this is me asking you, if you have an opportunity and you like what we're doing here on this YouTube channel, just give us a subscribe so that we can continue doing it at a high level. All you gotta do is just sort of click the subscribe button. If you don't feel like clicking the bell notification so that you get constantly notified anytime we put a video out or respond to a comment, that's okay, but we would still really appreciate the subscribe. I think that's it. I guess I'll see you guys next time.